That way, A, we won't get lost. And B, what are you shrugging for?
If we get lost, we get lost.
I'd like to
And
fucking
then,
live.
oh, here's the thing. If we get lost,
Mhm.
then maybe another podcast will cover us.
Oh,
and it's
no.
basically the circle of life.
No. I thought you meant, oh, the police will have to come find us. We'll be on the news and it'll be great for our podcast. While I do want everyone to be careful and like not get hurt down there or get lost, I really don't want them to raise the cost of the penalty.
Yeah.
So
what we need is for fewer of you to do, fewer of you to do it. So they'll start like, oh, okay, well, it's not as serious anymore. And they'll start dropping the price. And
or just go in groups, buddy system. That way that eliminates the number of incidents.
But is it a fine for a group?
Or no, it's probably individual.
Person? Yeah,
it's probably individual. So. But still, the number of incidents would be less.
Right.
So I feel like we just need to find someone that specializes in this kind of thing to take us down there. It's just us and our microphones down in the catacombs, just still recording. We still don't know where we are, but somehow we're getting these episodes out.
There's no Wi-Fi, so we can't even upload it. It's just you and me. Oh, wow, this episode was really good.
They were like, we think it's out there. We're like, oh, I bet this got so many views. And everyone just thinks. So thank you, everyone, for listening to us. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. Even if you don't listen on Apple Podcasts, just rate us on there. We really would appreciate it. Or just listening in general is really fucking awesome. So thank you, guys. I have Switzerland to add to the list now, which is really, really cool. Thank you to Jonas. If you haven't listened to this episode, really, really appreciate him tuning in.
Thanks, Jonas. I love your guys' cheese.
I'm so glad you said that, actually, because it's perfect, because I wanted to mention it anyway. I found cheese that I can eat. It's vegan, that actually tastes delicious.
Oh, is that nut cheese?
Why did I ask you to do a podcast?
It is, right?
It's probably got nuts in it, but it's like Follow Your Heart is the brand, and it's Parmesan. And it tastes like Parmesan. I have never been happier in my life.
Well, that's going to be a dangerous game if I try and Google nut cheese. Okay. What is it? Follow Your Heart?
Your computer. Yeah, Follow Your Heart, vegan Parmesan.
Oh, Follow Your Heart. All right, so you go first this week, right?
Yeah, bitch. I mean, yes, sir. Okay.
All right.
Get ready, buddy. Get ready. Do you have any other announcements? No. Okay. So this is the tale story situation going on, because I don't know if it's over yet. It's kind of still in process.
Okay.
Of the quote button man in not button man in Australia.
The button man in Australia.
Yes, and I was like, what the fuck does this have to do with buttons? And then they explained the button part, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking he looks like. So it takes place in Victorian Alpine Park in Australia. It's going to be like the southeast corner-ish part of it. So it's towards the bottom, closer to Antarctica than to, the North Pole, for those who are directionally challenged. We're looking at Australia. It's going to be one of the lower areas towards the bottom east. So it's going to be towards the right if you're looking.
Is Antarctica south?
Is that a serious question?
No, that's a joke.
Oh boy. Ooh. I've met some people. Wait, is it actually a joke?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure, because I know some people. There's people.
I need to look at a map.
I will never know if he actually knew that or if he was joking the whole time. So it's a mystery.
I'm not sure if I was or not.
Okay. No, so this person that I work with, we were talking about Boston and Salem and such. And she was like, oh yeah, aren't they known for their like cheesesteaks? And
yeah.
I about fucking died. So now every time we bring up Boston, we're like, oh yeah, no, go get the cheesesteaks there. And if I ever go to Boston, best believe I'm getting a cheesesteak and I'm sending a picture to her.
No, there has to be, there's a pun in there somewhere about like a Philly steak with like cheese whiz, which how do you make it happen?
Make it happen. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it right now, but like I'll
okay,
next
whatever.
week we're gonna, I just can't freestyle all the time. Although my cowboy joke, if you didn't listen to our surprise episode, that's will be up before this is, I made an excellent cowboy joke. So
You did.
excellent. All right, so we're in Australia, Southeast Australia. I can't with your butt mug. Okay, so people go missing in national parks and in the wilderness all the time. It gets really confusing. It gets cold, things happen. So who fucking knows?
It's the dingoes, isn't it?
I mean, down there it might be.
That's what I was saying. I thought we were still talking about Australia.
Like D from Philly, it will eat your babies, bitch.
A dingo ate my baby.
Okay. All right, for real. I'm gonna get into it. So there are 4 separate incidents that happen that they all believe are caused, or it could be the button man. And this is not just like a legend. It's not just like this is one of those things where they're like, oh yeah, no, they made this up. This is an actual person that they've most of them have seen.
It's
like
what
people have seen. What?
What's he called again?
The Button Man. I have a new nickname for him that I will give in a little bit, but yeah, I'll tell you why
has
he's
has he also been referred to as Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Sir Mix-a-Lot? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why don't I get it?
He likes big butts.
No, it's a buttons. Stop
Button.
it.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
I've had a lot of coffee today. It's going to be
You're just like making me regret everything.
Uh-huh.
So this case is super recent. It's still ongoing, basically, because I don't think anyone has disappeared within the last year, but as far as I know, this person is still alive that is named the Button Man. All right, let's see, where are we going? All right, so it's about 40 miles of space in Victoria, and it's basically this ravine, this valley in between 2 mountains that are actually ski resorts. And it's this area that's in the ravine that a lot of this is happening. And on one of the hills is where he kind of keeps his camp. Like every now and then they'll see him go into town, he'll buy supplies, and then he just goes right back to his camp. But it's hard to get to this area where people will camp because you have to have like a 4-wheeler, especially in winter, and it's kind of remote. It's not the easiest place to get to.
How cold does Australia get?
Okay, so I was looking at that. I was looking at it actually is it varies a lot based on where you are. In Australia. Like there's some places that are arid, like super crazy, even within this one state, because there's like I think 6 different states in Australia. This particular one, even within that, it varies quite a bit. So there's more mountainous, like colder, cooler climates. There's also kind of like an arid, more I don't know if it's desert, but I guess the bush or whatever you call it. And then there's and then there's so much, and then some of it is obviously on the water, so there's going to be beach and like tropical and stuff too. So
right. For you. I'm gonna Google it.
Australian bush.
Australian bush.
So
Australia.
Yeah, go take a look at that. So there's not just rumors of a bushman. It's an actual person, as I said. Oh, I forgot to look up the way to pronounce this. So it looks like Wanangata Valley. What are you laughing at?
When you type in Australia temperature, one of the questions is Australia cold or hot?
Why is that funny?
I've never thought of Australia being attributed with being cold. So it kind of caught me off guard. It looks like it can get down to like 41 degrees.
Oh.
So like they can get like frost, but they're not snowmobiling.
Right.
All right. Just curious.
So, as I said, he's called the Button Man. So, at first, that's not very menacing. You're like, okay, like, what the fuck is this about? I'm imagining Paddington Bear at this point in his cute little coat with his buttons, and I'm just like, okay, Button Man, whatever.
Oh, but, see, I immediately pictured the is it the other parents from Caroline? Coraline?
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Caroline.
What the fuck ever.
No, it's just funny.
The parents that have those like scary they have this scary button eyes. That's what I thought. That's what I immediately thought of, and I don't care for that.
Yeah, that movie's a little bit creepy. So one of the mountains is Mount, I think it's Buller, and then the other one looks like Hotham. Every now and then they see him, but he goes off the grid and he is just living in his little campsite on the mountain for months at a time. He is an expert bushman who is rugged and tough.
I consider myself an expert bushman. Do not cut that out.
I'm not going to cut that out. Would Sarah consider you an expert bushman?
Sarah would say that I struggle to be considered an amateur bushman.
Oh, one of these days I need Sarah on this podcast because she's fucking amazing. So the nickname of Button Man comes from his craftiness in turning deer antlers into buttons.
Oh, that's kind of dope.
It's actually pretty badass. And obviously, and at first I was like, oh, okay. And then he sews them on his clothes. No, he makes gauges for his ears with them.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. So some of the area is really, really hard to scale and climb. It's much more of a steep incline, or it's probably like rocky and dangerous. Anyway, that's where he puts his camp, so people can't really get to him. And he is said to be so swift and just scales this like it's nothing. He's just very, very agile. And let's see. So he hunts a lot as well. He has approached many campers at night at various campsites. He is approximately 70 years old.
Okay, that went from like creepy to a fucking nightmare with just that little detail.
Right.
So he's 70 years old. He has deer antler gauges, and he's just crawling around the rocks like a goddamn goat. And
silently. He doesn't really make any noise because he will appear like a ghost. People just see him there. They don't hear him coming at all.
Oh, this needs to be a movie, like ASAP. This is terrifying. This is great.
Right. But wait. So he has salt and pepper hair. He's wearing dark clothing, especially a dark jacket, obviously, so he can sneak up on you. He's not going to wear fucking neon and be like, hey, bitch. Like he wants
I'm sure if he wanted to test himself.
If he wanted to test himself.
If he was like, let's see how good I really am. And he wears like the little kid sneakers that light up when you step.
No, the ones with like the squeakers. Could you imagine? No, someone get him. No, there's shoes that squeak, like for toddlers.
Why the fuck would you want that? That sounds terrible. Kids are already loud as shit.
Oh, it's annoying as shit, but I've seen people at Disney and they have them so they can hear them if they start running away. So you'll know, if the squeaking gets quieter, you're like, where the fuck is my child?
That makes sense. Just like keep them in their room.
I don't know. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I would 100% use the leash if necessary. If you're a little shit and you're running off all the time, So he is very intimidating and scary.
Yeah, I'd fucking
So
say.
no. This is what I'm picturing now. I am picturing Billy Mays in flannel with like a whole antler sticking out of his fucking ear. That's what I'm imagining. Just creeping up on you in a campsite.
Oh, I guess, did you say, like, did you describe him like physically? I know you said he's like 70, but he's not like.
He's got to be like muscular and well built because he can fucking climb.
I was thinking outdoorsy slender man, like just real lanky and.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think so. I think he's probably somewhere between you and John Cena.
The other thing is, I don't physical appearance, yes, but I don't remember Billy Mays being well known for how stealthy he was.
I mean, he could if he wanted to. You don't know.
I feel like every time he walked into a room, it was compulsory that he had to scream, "Billy Mays here!"
See, when I came up with this description, you were supposed to laugh and we were supposed to move on. So.
Okay, well, my brain is bad.
Well, you're like, the name is bad. I was like, I didn't name it Billy Mays. I don't know what you want from me.
Billy Mays, the button man here.
Yeah, his name is going to be Button Billy from now on in the story. Thank you very much. So,
no problem.
Okay, so this man, I'm imagining he has some kind of crazed look, like he's not around people often. So he gets like really awkward, obviously.
Yeah, I would fucking imagine.
No, he asks why people are there in the same area he sets up camp. So he's like crazed. He's suddenly there and he's like, well, why are you here? And you're like, what the fuck? Why are you here? I'm minding my own business. So.
So if I was at a campsite,
yeah,
and some just horrifying man came out of the woods,
antlers sticking out of his ears,
and he was like, "Why are you here?" My first thought would be, I have to ask the same thing of myself. I need to get the fuck out of here. Why am I here?
Right? Yeah. Ugh. So he will ask people like questions like, why are you here? Or he'll straight up tell them, I don't like that you're here. And they're like, okay, great, thanks.
That's not what you want to hear.
Right? No, not when you're camping, you're eating s'mores and then you almost choke to death because you see a fucking like crazed lunatic. And then people ask him questions and he doesn't answer you. He like straight up will not answer.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's probably not
above it.
Terribly well versed in social constructs.
Yeah, he just goes silent. He asks you questions, you're supposed to answer him, but he's not fucking talking to you.
At least he doesn't like start like making animal sounds.
That would actually make it better.
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. If a person came out of the woods and asked me why I was there, and I was like, "Oh, homie, I'm camping," and he said, "I don't like that you're here," and I said, "Well, why are you here?" And he just started like bleeding like a deer. I would shit my pants. If he was just quiet, I'd be like, "All right, yeah, I'm gonna walk back to the car." But if he just started screaming animal sounds, and I'm not talking like moo, like that, I could stomach.
What if he just starts like quacking or some shit?
I mean, yeah, no.
From experience, Cody, what does it feel like to be the person that's quacking?
I've told you multiple times, I do not recall that. I remember being there, but I don't remember.
Oh, you did for sure.
Oh no, I have no question. But at that point in my life, I was not sleeping much at all. Yeah, don't recall.
Okay. So for anyone wondering what the fuck I'm talking about, obviously when we worked together at it was Toys R Us at the time. He worked in electronics and I don't know what job I had at the time because I got different promotions. So I honestly was probably doing like price sign stuff, but I go over and we would talk all the time because we've been good friends for a long time. And he literally just started quacking. And then he kind of had this look of regret. It was just like, yeah, I'm really tired. And then we never talked about it for years. And then I just brought it up suddenly, like, I don't know, within the last year or so.
Yeah, don't recall.
Yeah, it was weird as shit though.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Button Billy is ghost-like. Obviously he's sneaking up on people and such. He rarely responds to anything when you ask about himself. 8 people that are very experienced with terrain. They call them, I think, bushies is what they're called. Yeah. So they're very familiar with that area and they have encountered him. So I'm thinking this guy might have the mental vacancy of Ed Gein, but like the stern look of like BTK also. Like when BTK got caught and he looked real mad in that picture. That's what I'm imagining.
That, again, is horrifying.
I know, right? Don't go camping. Just don't do it.
I mean, you can go camping.
In your backyard, like in your living room.
Camping's fun.
In your living room. Yeah.
Camping is fun. Like going out into the woods and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're ever going to see your family again. It's great.
Yes, adrenaline rush. Go for it. So fun. So one of these men that saw him claimed to feel the intense gaze of Button Billy's 1,000-yard stare, although they described it as 1,000-meter stare because they use the metric system. They mentioned their hair standing on end, just locking eyes with this person. Immediately the hair on their neck stands up. Yeah, immediately they're like, something is not right here. They also mentioned that he will not be noticed unless he wants to be noticed. So he will go on about his life and you won't even know he's there unless you want, or he wants you to know. Otherwise, completely hidden.
And this is like a confirmed to be real dude. This isn't like a...
people have legit met him.
Button Man, Australia.
Including one of the people that go missing.
Strange mystery.
Like he's actually talked to police officers. Police have talked to him.
It's awful.
Yeah, I don't think there's a photo of him, but so there's one photographer who had specialized in wildlife. They were in the area with this man. They said nothing was strange that happened. They went on about I think it was like 3 days that they were there. They took a bunch of photos. They get home, they upload the photos onto the computer, and someone took a photo of them while they were sleeping, of them in their tent.
Oh yeah, fuck that, man.
Yeah. And it can't be explained. They went there alone. No one else was with this person that could have taken this photo. Unless you set it up to randomly take it with a timer, which sure, whatever, but it's just fucking weird. So Button Billy also builds rock pyramids at random points along the valley. And no one is really fucking sure what that's about. Although I'm thinking it's like when people put them over bodies. Like when people have burials, they put like the rock markers, those kind of pyramids. That's what I'm thinking of. He also puts them on the road, these rock structures, because if somebody drives up and moves them, he'll know someone's nearby.
I mean, that's creepy.
It's genius, but creepy.
I mean, he might just be like, there's people that just stack rocks. It might be, you know, I mean, probably less common, yeah. But people stack rocks like on the riverbanks and stuff. I mean, it's not like he's out there playing fucking Candy Crush. Like he's got to fill his time with something. Oh, I got the soda bomb.
Well, I mean, he goes hunting. He hunts deer and stuff. So, let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, so search and rescue police have hiked near, it's called King Billy Track, which I didn't know when I compared him to Billy Mays. And that's part of where he is. He has his base camp there. That way he can have surveillance over everything that's there. So enough about this man. Let's get into the people that went missing. So there's one couple named Russell Hill and Carol Clay. They are 74 and 73, and they happen to go camping in this area. Russell himself is actually very, very familiar, and they ended up camping on a Dry River Track. And it is on March 20th of 2020. So the pandemic is like just starting to really, shut everything down.
Mm-hmm.
And then they decide to go camping, which is probably the best time because you're not going to be around anyone really. Russell was so familiar with this area. In fact, he built one of the tracks, one of the roads there himself when he was a logger.
Oh shit. Okay.
So that's how well he knew this area. Like he was part of the initial, all of that. Yeah. So he was very, very familiar. So we're going in reverse order. So I'm start with the most recent, and that's this couple, and then we'll go to like the earliest one. So March 19th, Russell picks Carol up just outside of Melbourne. It's not Melbourne. It's Melbourne. Don't you roll your eyes.
Okay.
Don't you dare. So they drive east to the valley, and and this time, like, oh, that's so badass. He built this road. And then he goes camping with this woman. He's married, and he's not married to her.
That's suspect.
If that's your setup, that's your setup. But let's put it this way. His family thought he was going camping solo whole time. So, great.
Ew.
Yeah. So a friend of his said that Russell would often go off hiking quite a bit since he had retired 2 years prior. So he had tons and tons of time to just go exploring, do whatever. And no one learns about Carol until after they've disappeared. So like, oh yeah, no, Russell went missing, and Carol also went missing. We don't know where she is. And they're like, who the fuck is Carol? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So she had actually worked I think she worked for an association that had to do with like, I don't know if it was like women's welfare in the county or something else of that sort. But they had gone camping multiple times. This was not the first time she had gone with him.
Mm-hmm.
And the last interaction that anyone has with Russell is via radio transmission. And he was actually part of this kind of boys club, this radio club of men that were always in that area, that they would just communicate same day, same time every day, so that they could make sure everyone was cool. This person is Robbie Ashland, and he was supposed to talk to Russell at 6 p.m. every day. And I think the 20th is the last time they talk. So on the 21st, he goes at 6 p.m., nothing. He doesn't hear anything. He waits a couple days, like maybe they're stuck somewhere, maybe something happened. So by the 23rd, he's like, something's fucking weird. And they finally find the campsite on the 27th of March. And Carol and Russell aren't there at all. They don't know where they are. There's a fire that has happened. So that area is kind of all burnt out, the campsite, wherever the fire had been, so much so that there were burns on the Toyota truck itself.
Jeez.
Not burned from the inside, burned like from the outside, but it had basically, enough had happened. They'd been gone long enough that I guess either the fire, got really large, or something happened with someone. There was a struggle, something of that nature. No credit cards, anything has, been used since they left. Trying to go through all of it. And Russell had actually had a conversation with Button Billy a week earlier before he disappeared. He had brought a drone with him, actually, because he was using it to kind of fly over, take a look at everything, probably figure out where they were going to set up camp. And then Button Billy is like, oh no, bitch. No, you're not. So he came up to Russell and he said, I don't like that you're here. I don't like this drone. I don't like that you're fucking here. And Russell's like, okay, good for you. I know this area really well. Great. Gonna camp here. You can move along. And then he goes missing. So that's wonderful. But, and then obviously it's illegal to like live in national parks. It's not something that's allowed. So this man is illegally camping, and then he's also claiming all of this to be his, and he's like, I don't like you on my territory.
Right.
But police are also just like, just let him be for right now. They haven't tried to remove him or anything like that. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Russell and Carol knew each other for 20 years. 20 years. But neither one of them felt like they wanted to disrupt their lives. So this is quite possibly an affair of 20 years.
Jesus.
Which, that's your choice. I don't know your marriage, but if no one knows about it, it's probably pretty suspect. So I don't know if the four-wheeler is also missing. All I know is that Carol's missing, Russell is missing, the truck and camper is there, but no one mentions the four-wheeler, so I'm not sure if that was anywhere. And then we go to the next one. And the next one is Niels Becker. He was also a Bushy. He was 39 years old, and he disappeared October of 2019. He went on a solo 5-day trek in the Alpine National Park. He had planned this trip so well, it was not spontaneous whatsoever, and he was quite experienced, obviously, in that area as well. He had been at one particular spot, I think it's Upper Jameson Hut. I'm sure I'll get yelled at for how I pronounced it. On October.
Jamison.
Yes, that's what is that? What is that?
Australian, maybe?
Okay. All right. So October 26th comes around and he sends a message. There's probably Wi-Fi at this place because he was able to send a message or self-service to his family saying, hey, I'm going to be at this one particular spot. I'm going to be heading back to my car. It's about 6-7 hours away, but I'm going to be heading back and I'll be leaving. Who was the last person to see him? Button Billy.
Sketch motherfucker.
Suspicious fuck. So he does say that he saw Niels in the area. Like what? I don't know. Basically, the way that Niels was going, he would have had to have gone by the camp. And so Bailey is over here, like not completely possibly lying if he did do it, because he's just like, yeah, I saw him. Like maybe he did. Maybe he killed him. We don't know. But the area also has really good radio reception near Billy's camp as well. So people also probably try to go to that area to communicate with all their other family and everything like that. They did not find Niels anywhere. I don't think any of his belongings have been found that I'm aware of. So that's another person that's missing along with their stuff. So it's super weird. And then the other person here is Conrad Whitlock. He was actually the first to vanish in July of 2019, and his is even weirder. So he surprised everyone by driving out there in the middle of the night. This was spontaneous. He had no plan to go camping. He and his wife had gone to bed at the same time at like 11 p.m. that night, and when she woke up at 5:30, he was gone. Didn't hear him get out of bed. Nothing. That's like really fucking weird.
That just sounds like he killed himself.
It does and it doesn't. It's super weird. So he was in his white BMW and he left it along Mount Buller Road. His jacket, cell phone, and keys are all there. So yeah, initially it sounds pretty bad, but it was also very sudden. Like I don't think anyone noted that he was having he didn't really seem depressed or anything like that. So he lived south of Melbourne, and his wife, yeah, like I said, last saw him at 11:30. And this is what they've been able to tell of his last night alive. He had been driving along and he maybe had pulled over. I don't know if someone flagged him over. I don't know what happened. Some people say, hey, maybe he went to pee and then like something happened from there. But it's just, there was no suicide note. There was nothing to indicate that he would have had that type of behavior.
Okay. Did he have like camping equipment and shit?
No. This last one, the first one was not a bushy. He wasn't someone that went out there. This is probably some guy from the city who he was supposed to go to work that day and he didn't show up and he's just missing. So it's possible he could have done something. It's possible. I don't know. It's not like there was any rock damage, like he hit one of the, rock structures or whatever. So it's super, super fucking weird. But that is the possible Button Man mystery that we have. And
sounds horrifying.
Yeah,
it's real scary.
It's I
don't care for that at all.
Yeah, no, I don't want to encounter Button Billy for anything in life. So that's what I have.
Do we have a Ted Bundy or anything that we can do before I start my story?
We might. Let me see.
We may.
Oh yeah, please send Ted Bundy's Dear Friends Dead Ends Pod on Instagram. It's the easiest way, or you can send them to Dear Friends Dead Ends at Gmail. Hold up quick, because I think I have like one. Oh my god. Also, I tried to, I contacted this beer company while I'm trying to find it, because they have this really cool looking beer that actually has a cat on it. It's called Chonk. And it looks like it looks so fucking amazing. So I messaged them. And initially I was like, they aren't even going to respond to me because they don't have any in Maryland whatsoever. The closest, they actually did message me back. At the closest they have to Maryland, because we really want to get on the podcast, is DC and Virginia. So I am going to do a road trip and then we are going to drink it on the podcast. We also have another surprise for you, but you'll find that out next week. But
wait, what was it again? It was Chonk?
What?
The beer was called Chonk, right? Chonk?
Yeah. By Decker Brewing.
Oh,
Decker Brewery. It's Dekker, I think.
Let's see here. Yes, I am 21 years old. Thank you. Where menu? Beer finder. Yes. God damn it. Let me not say my
zip code.
My fucking zip code out loud. Yeah, Alexandria and Arlington both have shops. So yeah, like 30 miles out.
Too bad.
No, not terrible.
I'm definitely gonna hunt it down. Because let me tell you, and then I was gonna ask somebody, because we have listeners out that way. I was gonna say, can you mail it to us? I will pay you. But that is apparently illegal in Maryland to ship alcohol.
Don't be a bitch. Do it anyway.
No, like if they find out, I think you can face some type of federal.
Does the sender get in trouble, or does the receiver? Because if it's just the sender, send it to us, guys.
So selfless. Cares about everyone.
Yeah, whatever. It'll be fine. All right.
We get like hate mail from a jail.
That'll be fine.
Cody.
What? This is strawberry and white chocolate.
That's what's out right now. There's also a peanut butter and jelly one that you cannot have.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I still want to try it anyway. All right, so you ready for the Ted Bundy?
Oh fuck! I forgot it's like a satanic cat. It's got little horns. Oh, I want it so bad.
Right, I know. Oh, I'm gonna get it. I don't know when I'm going there. Sometime soon though, but I'll figure it out. So this is from Kim, and it says Jeffrey Dahmer walks into his local used furniture store with a sofa. It might have some stains, he mutters sheepishly. Come again? inquires the, manager, and he was like, some blood stains as well this time.
Oh boy.
I know, isn't it wonderful? All right, that's all the Ted Bundy. I only have one this week. So everyone send your Ted Bundys, please. If you're listening from another podcast, I will shout out your podcast if you send us Ted Bundys. So
or beer.
Hit us up. Oh yeah, send us beer. Please send beer. We're not gonna tell you where to send the beer. Figure it out. Okay, your turn.
All right, so mine this week is like it's
Invisible.
There's a lot. It's about a sex worker.
Okay.
Oh, it was Sarah. She's in the backyard. So yeah, so mine has mine has some details that are rather explicit.
Which way?
Both.
It goes both ways.
Both violent and sexual.
Those are two of your favorites. I'm done. Continue. I'm done.
All right. So this is the story or the case of Lilly Lindestrom. She was a well-known prostitute in the Atlas area of Stockholm, Sweden. At the time of her murder, she had been a sex worker for just over a year. So she was actually murdered in 1932. So it was during the Great Depression, which I don't think I really realized that the Great Depression hit like everywhere. I thought,
you don't really think about that.
I always just kind of attributed it to something that only happened here, but it affected everyone.
That makes sense.
So she had actually turned to that profession due to the Depression. Wait, did I say she had to turn to that profession due to the Depression? So she went into
album's out next year.
Yeah. Wicca wicca.
Which?
So she, because of the harsh times going on, she went into that profession, but she actually found like wild success in it. She ended up she was very well known, going so far as even the police knew about her.
I bet they did.
Yeah, no, right. It was obviously at that point it was illegal, but the police did know about her and always left her be.
Yeah.
So much so that her success was enough that she was able to afford luxury items, which at that point were exciting things like a radio. And she was allowed to use credit at local stores. She was a prostitute, and she was so successful that stores were like, yeah, it's fine. You can just take that home. We know you'll pay us later. So she was the only person in her building that was able to afford a phone and subsequently a phone line. Okay. I think at that point I don't think you had to pay for a phone line, but she had to pay for the phone, obviously, and that was one of the luxury items.
Right.
So she was actually able to avoid being out on the street because of this phone. She did all of her appointments, all of her rendezvous, everything like that, all through this phone line.
Can you imagine how exhausted that operator would be?
I know, right?
Oh my God. Oh, okay. Maybe I shouldn't say it. So I was reading Reddit, as I love to do, and the one Ask Reddit that I saw was about Guinness World Records that have been retired or that are no longer done for various reasons.
Okay.
It's relevant because someone quoted the woman who has had sex with the most men in a day. Oh,
How many?
919.
What?
I need to look into this further, but I'm pretty sure it said 900. Like, does it like, is it just like hand job and the like, or is this like actual?
If it's actual penetration, that has to be like a in and out sort of thing. Like you
That's
get
how that works, honey.
Well, I mean, I know that, but I mean, I'm talking like one pump and then you next one, buddy, hit the road.
No, I'm imagining it's just like this insane orgy. I don't. There's no way. There's no as a woman. Ouch.
That sounds like a logistical nightmare.
They probably bought like a whole like what is the word? Like an entire warehouse worth of glue. Like,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Insane. That's insane.
Everybody gotta get slicked up. So she was the only person in her building with a phone line. So she actually became known as the call girl because it was a play on her profession because she is a prostitute, but also she has a phone. So she's the call girl.
That's amazing.
Right?
I love when we learn about these things.
I did appreciate that there was a nice little pun in there. So on April 30th, 1932, while hanging out with her friend Minnie Jansen, she received a phone call from a John. Minnie later said that the conversation went as follows, and it's not really interesting at all, but it sounds super suspect, and it made me laugh, so I put it in here. The conversation went as follows. Can you receive me if I come in a while? And she responded, yes. Are you far away? And he responded, no, I'm very close. I'm coming soon. That's it. It just made me laugh that
neither of them were acknowledging the obvious.
Yeah. No, I'm coming very soon. So April 30th in where was this? Sweden? Yeah, Sweden. Is a holiday called Walpurgis Night. Walpurgis. Is that Sweden? So
Sweden, let us know. Yes, no.
Yeah, please. So it's just some holiday about a saint named Walpurga who German Christians liked because he fought against witchcraft. That's it. They were like, oh, thanks for putting up the fight against these wizards and warlocks.
Please tell me he had like a radar system where he'd go like wicca wicca and someone would go witch and that's how they knew.
I hate to break your heart.
No.
But I'm confident that was not the case. So, like I said, this was the first night, or this was the night of Walpurgis. So Lily gets the call, and Minnie's like, oh, I better be scarce then. So Minnie leaves at about 7 for some groceries. When she returned, Lily was busy with the client.
Getting busy
with the client.
Yes.
Boom.
That's our catchphrase.
Over the next 2 years, or no, not the next 2 years, over the next 2 hours. Jesus Christ.
It was like a long term.
Yeah, the guy was a machine. Over the next 2 hours, Minnie had to stay like downstairs in the apartment building or whatever because it was a super cramped apartment. So Minnie's downstairs, like just waiting for Lily to finish up. And Minnie did note that Lily came down multiple times for more condoms. And they're in the apartment building and Lily just comes down naked except for a coat. It's like, hey, I need more condoms. Hey, I need more condoms.
Like,
hey, I
why
need more
put
condoms.
on more clothing than is necessary? Because you're just
I mean,
gonna take a
I
barrel.
kind of get it, but like, she's in the fucking apartment building.
Okay.
And she's going down to the, I assume, the lobby. I don't know. I'm not here to judge.
Wait, why
but
does
that
she
just
not have condoms in the room already?
I don't know. She wasn't prepared. Always come prepared.
I thought she
Always
was good at
come
her job. I
prepared.
thought she was good at her job.
Yeah, so she probably ran out of them.
No, she's not good at her
job. So at 9 p.m. that night, Minnie goes upstairs to knock on the door to see if Lilly wanted to go to the festivities. So the festivities every year on this Walpurgis night, there was a giant bonfire and party that the entire town would usually attend.
Ooh, I like bonfires.
Yeah, exactly. No one answered the door. So Minnie's like, oh, I guess she just went with Mr. Fuck down to the party.
Mr. Triple Condom Fuck.
Yeah. So over the next 4 days, multiple friends and clients tried to contact Lilly to no avail. On April 4th, 1932, police got no answer when knocking on the door at the request of her friends. They brought in the fire department. The fire department broke the door down, and Lilly was found murdered. So she had been dead for, I mean, it's 1932. It's not like forensics was top notch at that point. So they think it was probably at least 3 days, could have been 2 days. So she was up there for 4 days. She was probably alive for at least a day or two.
What time of year is this?
April.
I don't know their weather enough to know how. I feel like it's still pretty mild, pretty cold.
I have no idea. So Lilly was found naked, bent over an ottoman with 3 couch cushions stacked on top of her body. So like on her back, he had stacked 3 couch cushions on her. Yeah. Her clothes were folded neatly in a chair next to her, and the apartment was spotless except for a bloody tea towel in the kitchen. Jesus. So there's no blood other than this one little towel. Mm-hmm. Everything's cleaned up. All of her friends said there was nothing missing from her apartment. It did say that, so everything was clean, which is confusing because Lily's head had been smashed in.
Oh God. Yeah, that's not going to be a clean crime.
No. So there's no blood anywhere. The police did say they were disturbed by the fact that there was just an upsetting amount of saliva on her neck and torso.
I'm sorry.
Like spit.
Thank you.
All over her. So no blood. Her
Thank
head
you.
she's naked. Her head's smashed in. No blood, just spit all over her.
Maybe he had like a salivary condition.
He had something going on. So then they actually realized that the body had been drained entirely of blood. So other than that little tea towel that had a little bit of blood on it, there was no blood at the crime scene.
When is this?
1932.
When was the Black Dahlia?
I don't know. Another time.
I mean, like it was. Thank you. It was completely different, but no, but they were both drained of blood.
Yeah. So her head was smashed in. They did say that it's likely that she was killed while she was engaged in her work.
So, like, just start wailing.
So it seems as though
like she's bent over the ottoman.
She's bent over the ottoman.
Yet there's saliva. Well, okay, activities happened, and then she spent over the ottoman because the saliva, or was he like it dripped on her, the saliva?
I don't know, but it said that it was likely that they were still engaging in her line of work when he smashed her head in. So he was behind her doing things and beat her head in. So there were 4 used condoms total at the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
3 in the garbage and 1 still like just hanging out.
Is that normal? I don't think that's normal.
It's not. Not, I mean, and I don't mean like hanging out, like just it's there. I mean,
no,
like,
I know.
Quite literally hanging out.
That's gross.
It is gross, yes. So 6 weeks after the murder, a ladle seemingly stained with blood was found near the just outside of the apartment building. And I don't know like what kind of special ass ladle this was, but her friends were like, that's Lily's ladle. We recognize that. So the newspapers ran with it and started saying that that's what the murderer used to take the blood away and drink it. The Atlas vampire was never caught and never struck again.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, apparently at around this same time, like that's the entire story. This poor woman was
drained. You know how long I don't know how long it takes to drain the blood. Is from her head, or are there other cuts? I'm so confused.
It just said her head was smashed. It didn't say there was any other harm done to her.
How does that? You would have to get to like a major artery.
I would imagine. Yeah, it's fucked. That's why maybe it was. But also, maybe that saliva came from sucking the blood out.
That is so gross.
Yeah, it is. This is also like right around the time that the classic Universal Bela Lugosi Dracula came out. Okay. So vampires were definitely on the mind. And they were confident that it was not connected, but this is the same time. Have you ever heard of Peter Curtin?
That sounds familiar, but I'm
not. Peter Curtin was a serial killer. I believe in Germany. Hang on. Peter Curtin. Yeah, he was a German serial killer. He was known as the Vampire of Dusseldorf.
Interesting.
That was a fucked up dude. He did a lot of very upsetting things. And he was caught in 1930, so it was still kind of fresh on everyone's minds. This was 2 years later. And then and the year previous he was executed was 1931.
Okay, so it's definitely not him.
Obviously. It wasn't him. Yeah, clearly, because he was dead. But yeah, they execution by guillotine, actually. Wow. But yeah, no, that's the whole upsetting story. Just I thought the vampire aspect was kind of
neat. There's so much. So she's drained of blood, so that's number one. That's already weird.
Mm-hmm.
There's cushions stacked on top of her. I don't know if that is supposed to be like a comfort thing, but that's still kind of.
I have no idea. Also, like that's Like it's fucked up enough. Like if you like necrophilia's fucked up, but like,
do you know?
What am I saying? Necrophilia is super fucked up, but if you kill someone in the act,
yeah,
you go from sex to necrophilia, like in the same activity.
Minute. Same activity, yeah, because that's gross. And also the muscle immediately goes limp. So that's weird. Any kind of muscle or like.
Are you talking about like she dies and then she shits?
No, like her. Oh no, you know what I'm talking about. Like her vaginal muscles.
So the condom wasn't found in her vagina.
You didn't say that.
It felt like it was a lot. So he
burying the lead. Jesus.
It was sodomy.
Okay, like do you, whatever.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
I feel like
because people shit when they die.
Also that. Huh. Yeah.
And they said the apartment was clean.
I wonder how long they were in there.
But also, like, what if it was clean for like? I mean, because they were basically on like it was in the Depression era, and it was basically like a Skid Row sort of place. Right. So maybe it was just like it was clean the same way that like a junkyard would be clean. Like if you went to a junkyard and it was like really well organized, you'd be like, oh, okay, this is a clean junkyard. Okay. I don't know where I'm going.
One of these things is not like the other. A junkyard?
No.
Junkyards aren't known for being organized.
Some of them are. If you go to like a junkyard and you're trying to find like a specific car part and they're like, yeah, it's over there. I know where that is. No? All right.
You have more experience than I do, apparently.
Whatever.
Yeah, well, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I don't even know if we have time for me to update because I forgot to bring it up. I have an update on the Lilly Bizup case, the deaf child at the camp.
Oh.
I don't know if you have time, if you want me to update.
Is it a good update?
Per justice, it's like maybe good, but it is kind of bittersweet. So let me pull it up real quick. So I don't know how I missed this initially, but there have been some arrests that have happened in the last several years.
So just to refresh people's memories, that was at the Catholic sleepaway camp, correct?
Right. It was a boys' Catholic retreat.
You're saying there's been some arrest from there?
Of people that have worked there.
Surprising.
So, also refreshing is probably a good idea. So, Bobby Bizup, he went missing in, I think it was like 58 in Colorado at this camp. And it's not like it was in the middle of the night. He legit was walking back with a counselor. And then the counselor's like, I turned around, he's not there.
Right.
And then eventually they find bone fragments months and months later up a mountain, essentially. Like I think it was like 3,000 feet or 2,000 feet up a mountain. Like it didn't make sense.
Right.
So let's go over a couple things. So the most recent update is a priest that worked at the camp at one point. There are a total, including this guy, 3 counselors, I don't know why I said that, accused of sexual abuse of children that worked at this camp. So, I mean, this type of setting, it's like a candy store for perverts in the worst way. Like, you have access to like just a horrible, horrible situation, and it's just at your disposal. It's disgusting, and I really hope that they vet these places better when they're hiring, because it's just absolutely insane. So this is actually from December of last year. So like I said, I don't know how I missed it. So this priest was a counselor at the camp at one time, and this was after 22 months of combing through endless amounts of records that they had at the Colorado Attorney General's office. Oh, that's so disgusting. Okay, so one greatly suspicious fuck, Jerry, I think it's Repola, he is luckily quite dead now, but they are saying that he was one of the predators that worked at this camp, and my stomach dropped when I read this. 212 children in the state of Colorado were molested by 52 priests between the years of 1950 and 1999. Oof. 212 children. Those are just the ones that have come forward.
By how many priests?
52.
Oof.
In about 50 years. So there's always something going on. There's always something disgusting that's been going on. It's just so,
That's like 4 kids a priest.
I did do the math. I was looking at that, and it was just like, just absolutely insane. And there's a little bit more to it. So you have to imagine these 52 priests, they aren't at this camp forever. Like, people move around, people relocate. So you have to multiply that by each place this person lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's just hi, Sarah. I know she can't hear me, but you're not going to acknowledge that. You're not going to tell her. Okay, that's cool. So let's see. I'm going to have to cut all this out because I lost my place. Okay, so when Bobby Bizup vanished, 2 of these shit sticks were working there at the camp. And I don't know what they were doing. We don't have those details yet. One of them is Harold Robert White. One of them is Neil Hewitt. And they're both just complete pieces of shit. White is known as the most prolific known clergy sex offender in Colorado history. His damage and wake of mental and emotional issues affected at least 70 kids. Yeah, like, he's a real piece of shit. Like, some people say that, like, sexual abuse is a cycle. Like, the person that is doing it has likely been abused, and so on and so forth. 70 kids. 70 kids. Like, this is what you do. So if this is within 20 years, this is within a span of 20 years of his priesthood. So if this is what you're doing, if you are molesting children, step 1, go out into the middle of nowhere, make it preferably like sandy or rocky, don't have any like plants or trees nearby. Step 2, light yourself on fire. Okay, it's 2 steps. Light yourself on fire. A lot of people say that there's like rehabilitation, and maybe there is, but I honestly, I'm not here for it. I'm sorry. I 70 kids, light yourself on fire. Just leave. Just go. Oh my God. Hewitt himself was connected to 9 children during 8 years as a priest. And luckily, White, the one who was the who really hurt 70 kids, he died in 2006. So luckily, he is also no more, but it's still really fucked up. And police tried to, or the media actually tried to interview Hewitt, one of the two guys that worked at the camp when Bobby disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually went to his home in Arizona and basically like stalked out on his front lawn to interview him once the update was kind of happening. And of course he's like, no, I didn't do anything. I don't know anything about it, which is possible. But the one that I mentioned, Jerry Rapola,
mm-hmm.
he is still under investigation. So sometime in the future, I'll have a better update. So, but at least we're hearing the names of these people and the magnitude of what was going on. In Colorado alone, 212.
And just at that site, right?
That I don't know if it was just at that site, but those 212 kids are directly connected to 52 priests. So whether it was at a parish, at a church,
mm-hmm.
or like, you know, these people were connected to that many children. And it's just fucking disgusting. But that I was able to get more information about that. I don't know if anyone is connected to Bobby, but it's more to the story that I wanted to bring up because it's so fresh to when I just covered it. That way people, if they're listening quickly to the episodes, they'll remember and they'll have more of that information. But sorry, there was a lot of sad stuff going on, a lot of like really, really
depressing. Today was a bummer.
It was, yeah, it was not as fun as last week, so I'm sorry, but I'll come up with something fun for next week. But
I've got one. I don't know when I'm gonna do it,
mm-hmm.
but I've got a story that I'm super fucking excited for, and it's fun. I mean, it's not fun because it's still a murder.
The details of it are easier to make light of.
It's great.
Right? Okay.
It's great.
Right.
Yeah.
It's I'm ready. I'm so ready. But send us Ted Pundies. We would really, really appreciate it. Dear Friends Dead Ends Pod on Instagram. The link that is on our profile page is it's going to connect you to everything that you need. We are working on doing live episodes rather than doing, you know, another just episode where we're just like dicking around, looking like idiots. We're going to try YouTube Live. We actually need to test that at some point to see if it'll work. And thank you for listening to episode 9 of Dear Friends and Dead Ends podcast. And we're going to see you guys next week for a big surprise for episode 10. And you'll see what that is next week. But,
wait, do I know what that is?
You do. Thank you so much for listening.
I do?
You do.
Is this